Would you like to discover the 5 flirting styles for flirting without being obvious and secret flirting hacks? Hey, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man Method, and I'm really excited to talk about the 5 flirting styles that comes from the book, The 5 Flirting Styles by Jeffrey Hall. So let's go ahead and dive right in and review. So style number 1 is physical. So guess what? The physical type expresses their flirting through their body. Yay! That's right. Oftentimes what also happens is that this particular style feels much more comfortable in a crowded room, right? Because it needs sort of like this touch, right? It's like not so obvious, but it is obvious kind of thing. And versus like an empty space, right? Versus like an empty room. So like that's number 1. And so you of course also know that if you have that, of course your love language is touch. So you will naturally, right, wanting to, let's say you sit and have some lunch or you're on a date, right? And you may want to touch the person's like hand, right? Or you want to touch their shoulder. Or you also want to see how is your partner flirting as well, the guy that you're on a date with. But those are some very like sort of more not so obvious styles to flirt as well, but at the same time still have fun with it without it being awkward, right? Because that's really it's almost like you're speaking through the body versus even speaking through words, right? So you're like much more like sort of almost more kinesthetic than you are, let's say, visual or auditory or so on and so forth. Flirting style number 2, traditional. So who should make the first move? Of course, the man. So that's where it's more likely to lean into the interaction and adopt an open body posture, right? So it's almost like really, it's like kind of like being a little bit more demure, right? Being a little bit more like sort of, like not secretive, but just a little like, coy almost a little bit, right? Remember, this is the traditional, so if you feel like, gosh, this is like not me, fine, that's totally fine. But just like try it on or just see who flirts like that. Maybe you have girlfriends who flirt like that, right? So that's what a traditional style, right? So the man approaches the woman. So the woman does not approach the man, right? And she also doesn't send like massive amounts of like intense signals, but she's this availability that I talk a lot about in my femininity videos, right? Like those particular style is really about making yourself more available to the man through, almost like through your way of being more, right? Versus like through what you say or like being forward or anything like that, okay? So flirting style number 3 is sincere. So that is actually certainly communicate through self-disclosure. And, it's really about like, females that laugh and smile. And it's also like sort of like this kind of like coy energy as well. So that's really authentic. And it's really about like, just really being sort of like, when you're cocky, when you're quirky, you're quirky, right? So it's like not, trying to be somebody that you're not, but you're actually like leaning full in, you're having a lot of fun. And, you're just being yourself, like you're being weird. So those would be women that like start to snore, for example, right? Like some laugh and then they do, just like, they're just like, oh my God, I just snort, right? Like, and so that would be like a really great example of this sincere, right? So I was definitely more in the sincere camp, like just total self-disclosure here, because I love like just sort of like being yourself, being transparent, being authentic. Don't try somebody that you're not. Don't play any roles. Be yourself, right? So let me know if that applies to you as well. Flirting style number 4 is polite. So you tend to be very hands-off, respectful, right? And it's like leaning back to create space, right? And sort of staying even in verbal tone. And it's almost like, it's a little harder because it's not so much through the body. It's not so much, you're not owning, right? You're not almost congruent, meaning what you say, what you think, and what you do is in alignment. But it's more about like what you say is potentially what you think, but what you do could be like something totally different. It could be really disconnected. And this is sometimes also a little bit more complicated, right? To really communicate. And this is oftentimes where also men tell us and say, hey, did she flirt with me? I don't know if she flirted with me. It's not quite so obvious, right? And so, see, this is like the difference between, I get that you don't want to be as obvious and sort of like forthcoming, but at the same time, also making sure that like, that this is flirting, you know what I mean? You are interacting in a playful way, in a flirty way, with the opposite sex, right? And flirting style number 5 is, of course, playful, right? That's like, just flirting for flirt's sake, right? Like just for the heck of it. And those are the people that they just flirt. They could flirt with a bird. Oh my God, that even rhymes, right? So they're just like walking, flirting, you know what I mean? Like little, like what could I call them? Like, but they just like really joyful. They light up a room, right? And they just make everybody feel good. Like even when they just go to the grocery store and if they stand in line, make everybody feel good that stands in line, including the cashier. They flirt with the bartender. They flirt with babies. They just like flirt with everyone. Like it's so playful. It's so fun. And it's so carefree because that particular style is sort of like, it's also not inhibited at all, but it just has a really, really good time. So those are the 5 flirting styles according to Jeffrey Hall. So you of course can get his book. And so let's go ahead and go into the question of the day. So of course, what is your preferred flirting style? So I hear so many times like people are like, they're not flirting, they don't know how to flirt. I need to find my own style to flirt. I don't flirt like my neighbor, right? And share in the comments below which one is your favorite flirting style, and let's have fun with that. Okay, if you also like wanted to learn a little bit more about like how you can break through your blind spots of attracting emotionally unavailable men, or to improve your communication with men so you actually send congruent signals to men, sign up for my Magnetize The Man quiz. The link is right below this video, or you can also go to magnetizeyourman.com and take the quiz right there. It's been such a pleasure to connect with you ladies today. I'm Antia Boyd, and I will talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Mwah.